All right, well, it's working today. How's it going? I don't have anyone in here yet, but all right, I'm gonna do this video. Tried to do this yesterday. I was having some problems with buffering. If you're watching this video on the replay, this will be my garage video, just to share the garage with y'all and some of the other projects that I have going on. Tried to do it yesterday, but I tried to make a video and upload it, but I didn't have enough space on my phone. And I also tried to do the live stream, but it just kept buffering. So I don't know. I have to wait and see when somebody gets on here. I don't have anybody on here yet. Seemed like it worked a lot better when I scheduled the live stream, because then it popped up as a notification. But I'm just gonna do this as a little test. Obviously it'll go and be uploaded live or uploaded to my channel once it's done. But it's just me and my son sitting out here in the garage on a Sunday afternoon, enjoying a lazy weekend. And when I was in Arizona, I was on one of Chuck's live streams, and a lot of people asked about the live Steam project, which has been going on for, well, good to see you, Sparky. How's it going? Hadn't really scheduled this live stream. It seemed like it worked better when I had scheduled it the one Saturday morning, but then I scheduled it really super early, so I don't know how well that worked. But I'm just chilling out here in the garage with my son. Going good. That's great to hear. Chilling out here in the sun with my son Jedediah. I was watching one of Chuck Baker's River Valley Railroad live streams earlier, and when I was in Arizona, quite a few people had asked about seeing the live Steam project. So I thought I'd just give a little background behind that, and since even though this is a live stream, it's going to go up on YouTube, obviously, when we're done here. And I just thought I'd share my garage with everyone. So the update, or not really update, but just kind of the backstory is when I was in my teens, so my father and my grandfather and my great-grandfather that I never knew, they're all machinists, and they can make pretty much anything that you could dream as long as they have a machine and tools in the metal to make it. And my grandfather actually had tools in his garage and machines in his garage. He could make anything in his garage. And they kind of instilled in me this idea that, well, you can just always just make something. You don't, even if it's not available to buy it. But my grandfather, knowing that I like trains, he found out about what's called 1/8 scale live Steam, which runs on a 7 1/4 or 7 1/2 inch gauge track. And the trains are scaled 1 1/2 inch or 1.6, depending on, because for 1 1/2 inch to the foot, 7 1/4 is the actual true gauge. But a lot of people like 7 1/2 inch gauge better, just because it's slightly bigger, but it's still most of the same proportions and stuff. And then the scale goes up to 1.6 scale, but you can literally make, hey John, hey, how's it going? Thanks for the thumbs up, John, and I assume the other one was from Sparky. But just talking about the live Steam, just for, hey, how's it going there, Chuck? Good to see you on there. I saw your live stream this morning. Just to catch all of y'all up, I've been talking about my the live Steam project, and that I have it's still a project. So my grandfather got me into it when I was in my teens, and because I had so many irons in the fire, I really didn't It just didn't take off. And I've had somewhat since, recently some renewed interest in live steam. So I'm just here sharing my garage because Chuck, when I was on your live stream in Arizona, a lot of people wanted to see this live steam project. So I got everything out of all the boxes. I laid it out here and I'm going to show it to you all along with my garage setup and a couple of my other projects that I got going on here in my garage. And I got my son Jedediah here with me. He's playing in the sawdust on the floor because, that's one of those things, you can't miss out on that. So I'm going to turn this camera around here and let you all see my garage. My wife wanted to make sure that I didn't let you all see the mess, but there's a little bit of mess still. Got a little bit of workout equipment in here. And that was my grandfather's scooter that I ended up with after he died. Same one that got me into the project. And these are a couple of my other projects down here on the floor. My kids have the wooden trains. We got a painting project table for the kids where they paint stuff. My son likes to paint pine cones. And I'm building like a little layout. I'm building a table using this piece of wood over here. And maybe I'll do a video on that sometime to show, but that's going to be a raised table because the way it is now, I got this, it was just a cheap deal from Toys R Us when they were going out of business. The kids sit in the middle of it and play, and then they sit on each other's trains and usually ends up in fighting. But when you have it on a raised table, then they tend to like that. So over here, this is what everybody wants to see. This is the infamous live steam project. So my grandfather got me started in it. He bought me the first set of castings. It can be built as either a two truck shay or a 3-truck shay locomotive. And I hope to build it as a 3-truck shay. Some of the parts from what I got, I'm probably going to change. My grandfather got me these wheels and they kind of got a little bit rusted in a lot of the travels, but they clean up pretty nice. But they're CNC machined. But for the scale, these are the 33-inch wheels for 1.5 inch to the foot. And a true scale wheel for a shay would be 36 inches, unless you're talking about a narrow gauge shay back in like the 1880s. But true scale for a shay, most shays had a 36-inch wheel. So I might end up using those to build like a real nice caboose or something, because you can use some arch bar trucks. And yep, nope, not a very large flange. This is more, you can get a close-up of it. And it's got a little bit of a taper too. But that's the standard. So the just like we have NMRA standards for model railroading, in live steam there is a standard, and this is the standard for as far as the wheel flange for 7.5 or 7.25 inch gauge. And this is a 7.5 inch gauge track. It's a 1 inch high aluminum rail. I have 2 more pieces of this rail, so this is, I think, 5 foot long. I could build a 10-foot piece of track. And generally what I need to do, oh, jealous. Well, I'm still jealous of your railroad, Chuck, just so you know. Yeah, you can ride this train, Sparky. So this train, you would be able to ride it. This pipe here is actually going to be the boiler. And if you want to look at what this would look like when it's completed, you can Google this name. I'll put it in the description after this video goes live. Nelson Rydell. He built one of these shays. How's it going, Crooked River and Eastern? But this is the Kenneth Schroeder shay. Kenneth Schroeder's the guy who makes the castings. You can buy these castings and machine them yourself. So this is the bottom casting for the shay engine. And this is almost complete. It's cast iron, so unless you coat it in grease, and you don't really want to coat it in grease because this is going to be painted eventually when it's finished. So once you're finished with it, then you're going to do the final cleanup and then paint it. But it's going to have the bronze bearings in there, as you can see. This is the beginning of a crankshaft. This will be the crankshaft for the Shay. And this will be, so let me see if I can mock this up a little bit. I have the pieces that go in the middle, but this is the cylinder. So this will go. How's it going? Really appreciate everybody coming in and watching. Oh, this will be the cylinder for the Shay. And for those of you who just came in, we're going over my 1.5 inch to the foot project. This is a live steam Shay that my grandfather helped me to start. And just going over some of the parts that are done. Like this is a valve chest that's done. You can see it has the holes started, not really drilled, but I'd have to, hey Dad, how's it going? I'm just showing my YouTube buddies all of the Shay that Pep started us out with. But this is the cylinder, and we got this will be the valve chest that would go on here. And for some reason I was gonna put those the slides out, but there's another casting that goes in between here. Yeah, John, Shays, honestly, I have to say, I know a couple people had made that comment, if you had to have only one train, which one would it be? And for me, it would definitely be a Shay. If I could only have one train. Well, you're invited, Chuck, whenever I get to get it finished. But it's a long project because, you know, obviously, I'm oh, big boy all the way. Somehow I had a feeling you were going to say that, Sparky. But unlike model railroading where you buy, you know, a locomotive or a kit where a lot of the parts are done, everything is, you literally have to build everything from scratch. And this is the setup here we have in the garage so far. I have my toolbox, have the lathe here. I'm getting it set up. I got a variable speed that I'm going to put on this. It has the a setup to do. You basically change the speed by moving the belt on the lathe. There's also a variable speed, but I need to clean this up a little bit in order to have it run and make a couple more of the parts on that. And then it has a milling attachment over there. And these are a couple of the other, when my grandfather was alive, I used to go over to his garage a lot. This is a couple of the other things that we made. This is a complete steam engine, a single cylinder steam engine. And we built this from a casting kit, so basically scratch. So where you see where it's painted red, it was cast it was cast in that shape, and everything that you see that's brass was where we machined it. And then we got this piece of oak and mounted it on there. And if you have an air compressor, which I don't have an air compressor, it's one of the things I really need to add to my garage. How's it going, Ron? Just going over some of the projects that I'm doing. A couple people, let's back up a little bit since there's a lot more people in here. So when I was in Arizona, a lot of people asked, I was doing a live stream with Chuck Baker, and a lot of people asked about some of the other projects, especially this one here, the live steam project. So I thought I'd get some of the parts out, lay it out to show everybody, you know, what it is. When this is done, it's probably going to weigh between 500 and 1,000 pounds. So you have to either have a motorcycle lift to put it in the back of your truck, or some kind of a trailer that you can run it up onto with ramp. And hey, how's it going, Ron? How's it going, Container Man? Oh, I don't think it's been going up, so I don't know if anybody. I I don't know if anybody left, but we got 7 people in here watching now. When it's finished, I think it should be about 13 inches wide. Yeah, that's right. I still have the HO scale railroad that I'm still working on. The HO scale is more practical for, obviously, as I move around. It's easier to get set up to where I can do small projects, whether it's DCC and wiring projects and stuff. Whereas with this project, one of the main pieces that's missing here, as far as tooling, in order to complete this project, is a milling machine. Even though we do have a small milling attachment here, it's a lot of the pieces that need milled. It's a really big challenge because they don't fit in. This is not a very big piece, and the stability of it is not what you would get if you had an actual milling machine. But it's all process, so you have to make the parts that you can. Is there a place close to me where I can, Sparky's asking, is there a place close to me where I can run your Shay? Well, obviously it's not going to be done next month, but there is several places in Georgia. There's also places in Florida. So in Florida, I think there's the Big Boots and Western Railroad. Up by Atlanta is probably where I would go. There's a place called the Canton Pacific and Eastern, or Canton something Eastern. I'll try to post a link to that railroad, Sparky, to that Canton Railroad, Canton something and Eastern Railroad. It's up by Atlanta. There's also the Georgia Live steamers, which are up by Atlanta. So within, I'd say, a 4-hour drive, you could have something. Talking about radiuses, you're not going to be like 18-inch radius. You're talking like a 30-foot radius on this. Comparing that to HO scale, I just think that's kind of interesting because if you were to build something in your backyard, you need some major space. And if you were going to use an engine with rods, you would need even more space, more or wider curves than that. With the Shay, you could build this. You could build like a flat car and a caboose, and you could be, with some 30-foot radius curves, you could probably be rocking and rolling. Or you can load this into the back of your pickup truck or a U-Haul trailer or something, and go to a club, within probably about a 4-hour drive. There's a couple of different clubs that you can go to. And most of the clubs, when they have open run days, they allow people that aren't part of the club to just show up and bring their locomotives and run. And so that would be that's how most people do it. There's actually clubs all over the country for this. There's some back home up in Pennsylvania. There's some in Indiana where my wife is from. There's clubs in probably the biggest one is in, I think it's either Oregon or Washington. I can't remember. It's called Train Mountain. And last time I checked, they were over 9 miles, not scale miles, but 9 actual miles of this 7.5 gauge track. And they're still a non-for-profit club. In fact, they got so big that they started to get in some tax trouble because just the donations were starting to make them look like a business. But 9 miles, and it's a continuous loop. I'm saying they have more than 9 miles of track, but they have at least 9 or 10 miles of continuous running. Okay, I got you, Sparky. So what I'm probably going to continue to do is, as I continue to get things set up here in my garage, I will show progress. Obviously, one of the first things I need to do is to clean up some of the parts. I need to clean up the tools first because that's actually even more important than the project, and get the tools all set up. The lathe, I got it somewhat set up as far as how I'm going to have it sitting there, but I still need to bolt it down because that's kind of important to have it bolted down, and also acquire some more tooling. One of the things I'd like to get for this is a little bit different tool posts. You can get those. They're not too expensive, about $100. But yeah, once I get this all set up, then I don't know how long it'll take. Then this will definitely show up on. You'll definitely see this on YouTube, and there might be a meet. I'm just saying, so there might be a meet. So keep your eyes on the channel. But as I make more progress, I'll definitely show more of this locomotive on the channel and any other rolling stock that might go along with it. But I've been thinking about, since I don't have a milling machine to actually continue some of the work on the actual Shay engine, I've been thinking about, since I have a welder and I do have the means to plug that in, I could start working on the boiler. And there is a place down in Florida that'll certify the boiler. So once I get the boiler built, then that would be a pretty good, then you at least have something big sitting there that's like, wow, look, there's my locomotive being built. But did you get sawdust in your eye? He got sawdust in his eye. But yeah, guys, this is my garage. Yeah, the boiler has to be certified. That's right, Sparky. So you could build one of these yourself and run it in your backyard, and it doesn't have to be certified for that. But most of the clubs will go in there and go to the bathroom. Most of the clubs that you will go to have rules, such as for live steam locomotives, the boiler has to be certified through some kind of state or national certification, and the most of them have to have either chains or drawbars to keep the pieces of rolling stock from coming uncoupled, and they also have to have some form of brakes. Now, this one of the tracks that I would definitely try to run this on, though, up in, I think it's called Maricopa Live Steamers. I can't remember, but it's where Nelson Rydell runs his. He has one of these, the same project that his is completed. And I actually met him when me and my grandfather went to Cass Scenic Railroad together, because Nelson has two locomotives. He has a Shay and he has a Heisler. And he actually, after he built the Shay from the Kenneth Schroeder plans, because for those that just got in here, this Shay is based off the Kenneth Schroeder plans. If you Google that, and I'll put this in all this information in the description. I'm just reading the comments here, folks. I got one track, my train can only, my brain, and keep going. But anyways, yeah, so with this, because you've rode the Cass Scenic, yeah, that's honestly, John, I have to say the Cass Scenic, I've been by the Durango and Silverton in a car before. I've never been there, but honestly, I was going to say, other than the Durango and Silverton, well, I mean, I haven't been to all the different railroads around the country, but I have to say, for Eastern railroads, it will be hard to beat the experience of the Marlington. Where is Marlington at, John? Or Marlington. I would have to say that Cass is probably, for a train buff, if you were going to go to one railroad in the Eastern United States, I would have to say Cass is probably the best, your best choice, because the experience, it's 11 miles up the mountain, and it takes literally all day, 40 miles south of Cass. Well, that was probably a great place to grow up. I know in Cass, it's buffering. All right, can everybody see me? A buff. do that. All right. Ron. Well, Ron. That's definitely, as I was just saying, that's definitely a great. Uh, yeah, it was buffering here a second ago. My end. It just disconnected on my end here for a minute, and then it went back in, and then it disconnected again for a minute. Anyways, to answer your question, Container Man, yeah, I'm in the United States Army. I'm over here in Georgia, and I live basically in a regular house. Yeah, we have a garage, so this is our setup. But have all my projects for those that just came in or are coming back. I don't know. It's buffering pretty bad now for me. You know, John, one of the things that get transferred to Fort Riley. Yep. Well, we talked about it, and we always would like to. We always wanted to go to Fort Campbell in Kentucky. Well, my dad still lives in Pennsylvania, and my grandfather unfortunately passed away the year that I got out of school in the Army, or I got out of AIT in the Army. So I kind of kicked myself that I didn't take advantage of his. It's okay, Sparky, but he was doing what he that he died. Honestly, so he had a bad hip. My grandfather did. I don't know if you all can see this much because it's buffering pretty bad on my end. But yeah, my grandfather had a bad hip, but he rode motorcycles his whole life. And then he had this motorcycle here, this scooter, because he can swing his leg through, and he couldn't keep up with the motorcycles anymore, so he joined an old man's scooter club, and every Saturday morning they went and found new places to eat breakfast. And he had went for a ride, and came back. Next day wasn't feeling well, and he was in the hospital, and okay, so at Crooked River in Eastern, yeah. So I had got a landscape trailer, and that's still a plan. But right at this time, so my model railroad layout. Hey Jed, set that down, please. Yeah, so my model railroad layout is designed so it can be moved in and out. It could be set up in a trailer. It could be set up in any kind of bedroom or garage. David, for Crooked River and Eastern. Jed, leave that alone. Yeah, don't put that on there. My son is trying to put it together. Listen, Jed, you got to clean the rust off before you put that on there. Well, there's a demonstration, folks, of how it's supposed to go together anyway. Except these, he found one of the axles that was a little bit too loose. One of my assignments from my grandfather was to make these axles. And a couple of them I made too loose, so they weren't exactly gonna work. I'm still seeing a lot of buffering, guys. I apologize for that. I think it's because I'm doing this over my cell service. And you know, as the clouds fade in and out, it gets, you know, goes. But one of the other things that's cool about this size of railroad is they make battery operated little Plymouth switchers that you can buy if you just want to have a train and you're not up to speed with the whole live steam thing quite yet. They make battery operated switchers, and you can put either, that kids can run with, basically like it's just like a little Digitrax throttle with a cord, and it has sound and everything. You put a car battery in it. Then they make some that actually have lawnmower engines in it, and you just kind of fire it up and away you go, right on your backyard railroad. But I was always more into that. I like the idea of basically you get coal or wood or propane or charcoal, like you put in your charcoal grill, and you can literally light a fire. You literally light a fire in the end of this thing, put water in it, boil the water, and then all the controls on this thing are exactly what they would be on the real thing. You're going to have a throttle on it, just like the real thing. You're going to have a brake stand. You have an engine brake and a train brake, or not the table part, but the legs. And then this part over here is a tray, and you can put, oh man, I think it's Container Man. I think it's because I think it has something to do with the cell service, because I'm doing this over a cell service the whole time. The first about 20 minutes it went real smooth, and now we're at it's kind of like it's still going, but it's like buffering the whole time. So I'm not sure. Uh-oh. Well, if it comes back, I will say, yeah, there you go. How's it going, John? How's it going, Ron, again? It's still buffering on my end, guys. I apologize. It has something to do with going over the cell service. But that's pretty much about it for the live Steam. There's a lot of different parts I could build, I guess. Sparky's back. There's a lot of different parts I could build to this, I guess. I got my rifle project that I've been working on. I just always had a goal to build a rifle that would shoot 1,000 yards. And this is going to be it. So basically I traded to my brother-in-law for a Savage Access. It's basically a $279 Walmart gun, and I bought a barrel, which I have the action in the barrel down here. Bought this barrel, Schilling Tool and Machine, in 6.5 Creedmoor, and I set the headspace on it. And this is a 4-groove ratcheted rifling twist. Got the bolt. But yeah, that's another, yes, it's going to be a free-floating barrel. So this is a Boyd stock. I've been following, if you know on YouTube, Vaughn Precision. I've been kind of following him a lot, following along with a lot of his projects. But I channeled this out, so it'll be free-floating. There'll be probably about 10-20 thousandths of an inch of free float space around here. It's going to look really nice. And then I'm going to put fiberglass bedding in here and bed it down. Right now, what I've been working on is, so this came so that you could just put the stock magazine in it. And I got this cool little 10-round magazine that is a lot too. And I've been modifying. This is the magazine catch. Here's the other piece of it that allows basically this goes in here like this, and I want to make a bottom metal piece, and then I'm gonna pillar bed this with some metal pillars. I'm getting ready to cut a piece off of this metal, and I'm gonna set up the lathe, and I'm gonna make my pillars with the lathe. Put the pillar down in there, and then I'm going to use this piece of aluminum here and make a bottom metal plate for this, and then that mag catch will go right here on top, and then I'm going to put this here. There's a range on post here where about once a month, once or twice a month throughout the spring and summer. They open it up and you can go out there and shoot out to 1,000 yards for $20. You just bring your own rifle. It has to be registered on post. But I already got this one. It's already registered on post. Very good. All I got to do is finish the build, and then I'm going to go out there. You pay $20. They give you, I think it's a 3-hour block of time, and you can shoot paper targets from 100 to 300 yards, and you can shoot steel targets all the way out to 1,000. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Sparky. I know I do see a lot of hunting channels though involving Canadian hunting and stuff. And I know that for Americans, a caribou hunt or you know, a black or brown bear hunt in either Canada or Alaska that's often kind of like a pinnacle of a dream though, to be able to do something like that. And a lot of times that requires a lot of preparation. Yeah. Yeah, this would be something. This would be actually a really great caribou rifle when I get it done. From some of the other people I've seen on YouTube, it would be effective on a caribou out to about 500 yards, because 6.5 Creedmoor. So this is kind of, I'll show you the round for this. So this is, yeah, I hear you, Sparky. Sometimes that seems like it's always a threat down here too, of more rules every time there's new legislation comes around. This is the round. It's basically a 308 Winchester that's necked down to 6.5 millimeters, or to. Now I'm drawing a blank here. But anyways, it takes a 130 or 140 grain bullet and gets it going about somewhere between 2,700 and 2,900 feet per second. As opposed to the military rifles that use the 308 Winchester, this is affected less by the wind, and it drops less. So this is kind of in between the 308 and the 243. It's basically more of a harder hitting cartridge like the 308, but it shoots a little flatter like the 243, which is a really popular hunting cartridge. In fact, the 243 is the most popular cartridge that was ever made in America that was never a military cartridge. John Dilly has a 243. Well, there you go, John. And I'm sure you love your 243 because I know people that have them. I have a buddy who hunts here on Fort Stewart, and he has a 243. He hunts deer all the time. That's the cylinder for the Shea engine, buddy. You got the beer license? Sparky got the beer license. Yeah. And with the shooting, the hitting a target at a long range is different from actually being able to kill a deer. So just because you can hit a target at 1,000 yards, this could hit a target easily at 1,000 yards, but it doesn't mean you can kill something at 1,000 yards. So yeah, I have some Newcastles in my fridge, if anybody knows what that is. But that's the crankshaft, buddy.
Oh, that a crankshaft?
Yep, that's the crankshaft.
Okay, where I go?
Here's another video that I've been wanting to do. Yeah, Little Browns. That's right, John. Little Browns. My father-in-law introduced me to them, and I have one from time to time with dinner. They're pretty good. Another video I've been wanting to do is a review of this Black Rifle Coffee. Future Shea Builder Big Boy. Yeah. I can tell you guys, I'll definitely keep this project. I've been wanting to bring it out on my channel for some time. I just never really got around to it. And then when I was down in Arizona, I was on one of Chuck Baker's live streams. I don't know if you're still in here, Chuck, or not. I know the buffering keeps dropping people off. But I was on one of Chuck's live streams, and everybody was, well, Chuck left, and he told me I had to entertain everybody. So I was like, well, I don't know what to talk about, but I started talking about my this live Steam project, and everybody was like, well, how come you haven't shown that on your channel yet? Yeah, that is honestly one of the things that's the best about this coffee, Ron, is that this coffee is roasted to order in Utah. So when you go on their website and you buy it, one of the things that most people don't know about coffee is that coffee has about a 2 week shelf life. So, and that's once it's roasted. All right. So what that means is that it's still going to taste good. It'll still taste like coffee, but a lot of the medicinal and like a lot of the medicinal stuff and and all that, it goes away when after that 2 week period, because the coffee kind of loses its potency. It still has the same taste, some caffeine in it, still has some taste. But this coffee company, it was started by two veterans, a special forces guy and a ranger, and they started this coffee company because the special forces guy, he just loved coffee so much, and he got tired of every time he was deployed, he didn't have any good coffee. And so he started this, and they actually sourced this. Right now, the guy, his name's Even Hafer. Even Hafer, he's the special forces guy that started it. And he goes down to South America and actually sources the coffee. So I can open this up right now. So right in here, so I have in here all my other bags. I saved my bags because I was going to do a review. Let me pull them out here. I was going to do a review of all these different flavors. These are just empty bags, guys. But I had all these different flavors going on here. And here's the Just Black. I don't know what happened to my silencer smooth. Sorry about the jerkiness. Oh, crap. Now, these are all the flavors that I've tried. If you go on their website, I'll just give you a little quick review. I'm going to do a video on this guys sometime and show you because well, I shared my idea with Chuck when I was down there, and but I haven't shared it on my channel yet. So this will be a little sneak peek here for you. So one of the things I wanted to do with my HO scale railroad is I want to make like a mine, and I want to make the train mine the coffee, and then have a rotary dumper that dumps the coffee into like a Keurig maker or a French press or something. So like basically have it automated. So I run my train, run it over to the mill, and the mill is a French press or a Keurig or something that will be like kind of disguised as a authentic building, like, like a Colorado mining mill or something like that. And then I'll make coffee with my train. That's the goal eventually. So I'm pretty obsessed with coffee. I don't know if anybody really knows. I mean, I know Chuck really knows I'm obsessed with coffee. Every time I would come over when I was down in Arizona, he always had to get out that little 1-cup coffee maker to make me a cup of coffee. But I'm pretty obsessed with coffee. Like I'm to the point where I'm like nitpicking the flavors and everything. The coffee line, yeah. So yeah, and I was gonna have different have a tank car supply the cream. I do drink coffee with cream and sugar occasionally. Oh, Mark, I didn't even see. I seen the red icon pop up. How's it going, Mark? But I do drink coffee with cream and sugar occasionally when I like, I don't know, just occasionally on a special occasion when I feel like it. But most of the time I drink my coffee black. But what I have here, so this one here is it's called the Freedom Roast. The Freedom Roast and the Just Black. Get you a little close up of that. If you go on their website, they roast these again. They roast these to order. So when you order it, it's not even roasted yet. So when you order this coffee, they roast it as soon as you order it and then ship it out. So you have coffee that's been roasted in the last, 5 or 6 days or however long it takes to ship it. The Just Black and the Freedom Roast are your traditional Colombian style roasts. What they told me at the store, because I get this from the 9 Line, order it either way. I always get it ground because I don't have a grinder, but they do sell it whole bean. I get it from the 9 Line store here in Savannah. They have an outlet where they sell this, and they sell the nitrous cold brew and everything. The nitrous cold brew is amazing. If you've ever seen a cup of iced coffee that had foam on it that thick like it was a draft beer, then oh my gosh, that stuff is so, like, you take one sip of it, you can feel the caffeine hit your brain instantly. Like, it is amazing. But all right, good seeing you on here, Sparky. I appreciate you being on here and watching. And yeah, have a good one, Sparky. But and so got the Colombian roast. This here is their lightest roast, and it's very, very lightly roasted. So it has a really high caffeine content to it, and it's very smooth. It does not have that bite that a lot of really dark roasts have. And also it has boom. Well, I'm back. Hey guys, so my phone died. I just want to say later to everybody and thank you for everybody that watched. Might as well. One bag per. I got to go back here and look at what Chuck is saying. Let's see here. Sparky's leaving. Everybody says goodbye, Sparky. Sparky can't go. One for Joel, one bag per cup. Yeah, you know what, Chuck? That's yeah, it was about I think I got one pot of coffee out of a half a bag maybe. Might as well just eat the grounds and drink the water. Well, for all of y'all that have left or were here or are leaving, really appreciate y'all seeing y'all on here. And thank you, John, Ron, who else is still on here. Looking at my, this is, you can see my finger. Mark, Chuck, Sparky, my dad. I don't know if you are still on here. I don't know who's still on here. I still see 2 people, but my phone died. But yeah, and that happened. But I am going to end it here because we are about... Oh, Flying Crow. Robert is still here. How's it going, Robert? I don't know if you were here the whole time or if you just got back here. Were you here the whole time, Robert? Flying Crow? Let me switch this around again. You've been here for about 10 minutes. So you just caught the part where my phone died. I was talking about coffee, and then my phone died. But I went over in this live stream, see my son, he rearranged everything. I had this all laid out real nice, but my son rearranged this all, made, Hey, how's it going, David? Or did you just get here, or have you been here the whole time? But yeah, we were talking about this is my live Steam project, so just got here. Well, how about that? So just to catch you up, David and Robert, so I've been live for about 50 minutes, and then my phone died, so I ran inside and got the charger, and then I came back. Most of the people had to go to dinner, but Yeah, so my grandfather got me started on this, and it's 7.5 inches between the rails. It's an inch and a half to the foot. When it's completed, it'll be between 500 and 1,000 pounds, and you can sit on it. And it has all. You literally build a fire in the back. This tube will be the Shea boiler. It's supposed to be built as either a 2 or 3 truck Shea. I hope to build it as robots. He's obsessed with robots. But this is one of the actual cylinders made out of cast iron. Part of it's is somewhat already rough machined. Got some more raw materials. This is a crankshaft. This is that crank case, that piece that goes on the bottom of the Shea's actual engine. And here's one of the wheels. Now my son, he stuck this on there. Now I'm gonna have to try to get that off. But you can see how the wheels roll on that. But these are 4 1/8 inch in diameter, and they're actually a scale 33 inches. So I might end up. I'm not sure how this is going to work out because I only have 10 wheels and I need 12. But and the Sheas normally had yeah, it is a serious project, David. I'm trying to give you all overview because I covered all this stuff earlier, but really glad to see everyone come in here, especially you guys come in here. I know, David, you're doing that the railroad project up in Baltimore, and I spent a lot of time driving around Baltimore before I. Yep, I appreciate that, David. I'm driving around Baltimore before I. DC, okay, DC. So because I don't know, for some reason, a lot of the stuff that you talk about on your channel, David, seems like, because I would drive around Baltimore and I see a lot of that same type of stuff in that where there's a place where the road goes over the yard, and I actually have rode, excuse me, I actually have rode into the Amtrak station there. It goes under the Library of Congress. I looked it up on the map. It's kind of cool. So I don't know if the Washington terminal if it services by or used to pull the trains in and out of that station or not. But oh, Chuck's still here. That's all right, Chuck. I was about to go eat dinner myself, and I know a couple people had just got in. But I appreciate everything, Chuck. Just so you know, my phone had died. My phone had died while I was in the middle of talking about coffee. So, but probably gonna have to sign off here in a little bit, in a few minutes or a minute or two here. Been out in the garage for almost an hour. But I just wanted to show everyone my garage, my little setup. Now I'll do another pan around again here for those that just got here and they're still here. Here's my garage. Got the workout equipment, some hunting equipment. It's hunting season's over for deer anyway. Still hog hunting. There's my scooter that I got from my grandfather. I still need to get my packet set up with the Army to be allowed to ride it. I was allowed to ride it before I went to Korea, and then my packet expired, so I got to redo that. Got this project here, and my kids' wooden train set. I built this nice shelf here, and got my toolbox with not really that much tools in it. Yeah, I do have a layout. My layout's actually in the upstairs bedroom. Most of my videos, David, are about the layout, but when I was in Arizona and I was on one of Chuck's live streams at the River Valley Railroad, a lot of people were asking, what about this live steam project? Because I was talking about it. So I thought I would let everyone know, because, you know, a lot of times it goes a long time between my videos, and a lot of times it's because I'm working on a lot of these other projects. I haven't really worked on this project for, say, in many years. I have been inspired to restart and start to acquire some materials and tools to work on it. So kind of get this project going again. And I kind of hope maybe by putting this video out there, then it'll give me some motivation, because I want to complete something on it so I can do an update. And then I also showed like my tool area. I need to build another workbench over here, clean up this little bit of mess. The kids, my son, he paints here. And then this is my 1,000-yard rifle project. But if you go back and watch the replay on that, we were talking about that. It's just something I've always wanted to do, was build a rifle that could shoot a target at 1,000 yards, because there's a lot of math that goes into that, because the wind, and you have the bullet drop and all that stuff. You got to make everything very precise. So I'm building it all. I can't really go very far, but I'm working on putting the magazine well in right now. That's the current part of where the project's at. This is actually what I've been working on the most lately. I've been working on this because spring's coming around the corner, and On Post Range is opening up for the 1,000-yard shooting matches that they do. So they're not matches, but they have a range that they open up once or twice a month that they let you shoot. Only get 50 yards out of my 45. Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you can hit something at 50 yards, well, especially with a pistol, that's actually pretty good, though, because most people can struggle at 50 yards. But we have a 100-yard range that you can go to whenever you want, and it only costs $10, and it's outdoors, so you can shoot whatever ammunition you want. A lot of the indoor ranges, they restrict the ammunition because of the backstop has to be able to be safe. But with the outdoor range, you just make a big pile of dirt, and you know, $10, and you can go there. And I go there and shoot the, you know, the 5.56 and the 44 mag and all that stuff. But it's only 100 yards, and they have a range. It's actually one of the functional tank ranges that they shoot the big M1 Abrams tanks on, that they open up once or twice a month on a weekend, and you can go out and shoot hunting rifles and long range precision rifles out to 1,000 yards. And they have targets set up from 100 yards all the way out to 1,000 yards. So you have some closer ranges to zero things in. You can, it costs $20, and you go out there, you bring your rifle, your ammunition, your scope, and you can sight your rifle in at 100 yards, because they have paper targets 100 yards out to 300 yards. And then they have steel targets that are literally like steel plates that you can, when you hit it, you can hear it ring when you hit it, and you can shoot them out to 1,000 yards. So this is more of a project than just the rifle too, because in order to shoot effectively with a rifle in the hobby, you have to have a good spotting scope to be able, and you have to have a buddy that's going to go with you, and you spot and everything. So. But that's all work in progress. I've been working on it slowly. I haven't purchased a scope yet, but I've got the barrel down there. If you guys want to watch the replay, I go over all that, what everything is, and how that all works out. But I'm not sure. I still got 2 people in here, but I'm going to have to sign off here to go to dinner. So I really appreciate, I want to say I really appreciate everyone who signed in and watched. I seen my dad even signed in and watched. It's really good to see you, Dad. And I just want to say wish everyone the best on all your projects that you're doing, whether it's a model railroad project or a good one. Yep, Robert, Flying Cow, you have a good one, buddy. Appreciate you stopping by. And I'll say highball on from here. Later, guys. Now I got to figure out how to end this live stream, which I'm not sure how to do that. Let's see.